Hey, you guys. So God had dropped something in my spirit that ties into the message about um overcoming toxic relationships with our families, with family members. Um, and God wants me to tell you guys the reason why He wants you to start with overcoming um toxic relatives. Um, Pretty much it's because that's the hardest place to start when it comes to setting boundaries, healthy boundaries. It can be the hardest place to start, but it also can be the foundation for you to help you set boundaries with everybody else. Okay, so if you put boundaries and overcome toxic relationships with relatives, people that's close to you first. If you grasp that and you manage that first, it will be easier with other people. It'll be hard. It'll be easier for you to set those same standards and boundaries with other people, and it'll be harder for other people to be able to overstep your boundaries. So that's why God wants you guys to start with overcoming toxic relatives. Yes, that stuff is demonic. Yes, that stuff is outside of the will of God, but He wants His children to start there. 9 times out of 10, believe it or not, that's where a lot of God's children abuse come from. Toxic relatives, not from people that are outside, but from people that they know. People that they grew up with. That is the people that tends to abuse them and take advantage of them the most. So that's where you have to start, because when you start there with learning how to set boundaries with the people that are close to you, when you begin to build other relationships, you have the foundation to build healthy relationships so other people won't come and take advantage of you the same way your family did. And that's how we end up getting into a lot of toxic relationships, because we deal with a lot of toxic relationships within our family circle. And so God wants you to start there. God wants you to start there so you can break that generational curse of having being in relationships or having relationships with toxic relatives. So when you break that cycle off of you there, it's hard for that cycle to start again somewhere else. It's harder that cycle. It's hard for you to. It'll be harder for that cycle to recreate itself outside of your family circle, if that makes sense. So that's why God wants you to start with your toxic relatives first. And then it will be the foundation. It will be the blueprint on how how to handle people that's on outside of your circle, and how they won't be able to take advantage of you the same way. And it'll also be easier too once you start to really deal with the family issues. It'll be you really start to deal with it and set boundaries. You'll be able to identify the same demons, the same spirits that operate through your family and other people when they try to come, because those type of things, the abuse, the gaslighting, the narcissism, the bypassive aggression, those type of things are like spirits. So those are spirits, and they can come in different forms by through different people, but you have to be able to identify it, right? When it comes, because it will come in a whole totally different vessel, but the same spirit. And when it does, you'll be able to like, I already know what this. Wait a minute. I already know what spirit you operating in. So let me go ahead and stick to my guns. Let me go ahead and stick to my boundaries and standards. Let me go ahead and cut ties. Let me go ahead and distance myself. Let me go ahead and lay down the law and let you know this is what it is and this is what we're not gonna do. Okay, so that's why God wants y'all to really start with y'all family members. Um, so when it's time for you to go out and get into the relationships that God has for you, you will have boundaries and standards already in place. And you'll be able to weave through and cipher out the people who are not for you, because the people who are really for you will understand and uphold and respect your boundaries and your standards. People that are not will kick against your boundaries and your standards, and they will try to make you lower them. Don't do that in this hour. Stick to your guns. But that's why He wants you guys to start with y'all family, y'all family toxic relatives first, with setting boundaries and standards there first. Um, because that's something that runs throughout a lot of God's children bloodline. That's a curse that needs to be broken. And the curse can be broken and it can end with you. And that's why God is saying, Deal with your toxic relatives now. Do what he's calling you to do now. Be ye separated. Okay? Abram had to be ye separated. Abram had to come from among them. Do what you got to do, y'all, in this season, in this hour. I'm telling you, it's very, very important. It's very, very imperative that you do what he is calling you to do in this season, in this hour, and to distance yourself, okay? Distance yourself from these people. Set your boundaries and your standards. It takes 21 days to develop a habit, to develop a new habit. Whatever God tell you to put in place, stick to it for 21 days straight. Do not waver. Stick to it for 21 days straight. Once you get past that 21 days, everything else will be a breeze. All right. So I love you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will chat with you all later.